I've never been the paranoid type. I don't scare easily, and I've always found those creepy call stories a little overdramatic. It's 2025, everyone's data is out there. Your phone number, your address, even your daily habits. If someone really wanted to mess with you, it wouldn't be that hard. That's what I kept telling myself when I got the first call. It happened on Wednesday evening. My wife and kids had flown out to California to visit her parents for a few days, so I had the house to myself. I was halfway through a late dinner, nothing fancy, just a reheated burger, when my phone buzzed on the table. Unknown caller. I normally ignore those, but for some reason, I picked it up. Maybe because I was bored, or maybe because I was expecting a call from the airline about my wife's return flight. I swiped to answer. Silence. Hello? No response. Just the faintest sound of breathing. I frowned and pulled the phone away from my ear. Caller ID, unknown number. I put it back. Can you hear me? Still nothing. Just soft, almost hesitant breathing. Then, click. They hung up. I shook my head, tossed my phone onto the couch, and didn't think much of it. Probably just a wrong number or some robocall glitch. Then, about an hour later, it rang again. Same number. This time, I hesitated before answering. The house felt quieter now, the kind of silence that settles in when you realize you're truly alone. I took a breath and answered. Again, silence. But not quite. There was breathing, closer this time. Who is this? I asked, feeling irritation creep into my voice. A pause. Then, finally, a voice. Low. Calm. Familiar, somehow. Hey, Daniel. I froze. I hadn't said my name. Who is this? I repeated, gripping the phone tighter. No response. Just a long, measured breath, like they were waiting for something. And then they said it. Why didn't you answer the door? A chill ran down my spine. I glanced at the front door, half expecting to see someone standing there. But it was shut. No knock, no doorbell, nothing. I stood up slowly. What the hell are you talking about? But the line was dead. I spent the next few minutes pacing the living room, trying to come up with a rational explanation. A prank. Had to be a prank. Someone I knew messing with me. But as I scrolled through my contacts, I couldn't think of a single person who'd pull something like this. I checked the front door anyway, peering out through the peephole. The porch light buzzed, casting an orange glow over the empty driveway. The street was quiet. Too quiet. I locked the deadbolt, exhaled, and told myself it was just some creep playing games. But then, just as I started to relax, I heard it. Not from the front door. From the window. 3 sharp knocks. I nearly dropped my phone. Because that window? It was on the 2nd floor. I swallowed hard, my grip tightening on my phone as I forced my feet up the stairs. Each step felt heavier, like I was climbing towards something I did not want to see. The knocking had stopped. But the silence was worse. At the top of the stairs, I hesitated. The hallway stretched before me, dimly lit by the glow of the nightlight in my kids' room. The door to my bedroom was open, the darkness inside swallowing what little light reached it. But my eyes locked onto the window at the end of the hall. That window. The one facing the backyard. The one I knew shouldn't have anyone standing outside of it. Slowly, I stepped closer, my pulse hammering in my ears. I half expected to see a bird or a tree branch hitting the glass, something, anything that would explain what I had heard. Instead, I saw a handprint. A single, smudged, human handprint on the glass. Cold dread spread through me like ice water in my veins. My brain scrambled for explanations, but none of them made sense. The window was on the 2nd floor. No balcony. No trees near it. No way someone could have touched it from the outside. And yet, I could see the smeared outline of fingers, the faint curve of a palm. I stood frozen, my breath shallow, every nerve in my body screaming at me to do something. Call the police? Open the window and check? Run out of the house entirely? Then, my phone buzzed in my hand. Unknown caller. My stomach twisted as I stared at the screen. I didn't want to answer it. Every instinct in my body told me not to answer it. But I did. I lifted the phone to my ear, forcing my voice to stay steady. Who is this? Silence. Then, that same, slow breathing. But this time, the voice came immediately after. I'm still here, Daniel. I stiffened. My body went rigid, my skin prickling like I had just stepped into a freezer. I turned my head slowly, dread building in my chest. And that's when I saw it. A shape, a person, standing at the very edge of the darkness in my bedroom doorway. Watching me. I couldn't move. I wanted to. Every muscle in my body screamed at me to run, to bolt down the stairs and out of the house, but I stood frozen, staring at the dark figure standing in my bedroom doorway. The dim hallway light barely touched them, just enough to make out the outline of their body. Not enough to see their face. My phone was still pressed to my ear, and the breathing on the other end of the line hadn't stopped. Then, the voice spoke again. You left the door unlocked, Daniel. I sucked in a sharp breath, my fingers tightening around my phone. No, I knew I locked it. I locked the deadbolt myself. And yet, someone was inside my house. Inside my room. My pulse pounded in my ears as my mind raced for an explanation. A prank? A home invasion? But how would they know my name? How would they know I was home alone? The figure in the doorway didn't move. They didn't breathe. They just stood there, watching me, as if waiting for me to make the next move. I took a shaky step back, gripping my phone like it was some kind of shield. My voice came out uneven. Who are you? Silence. Then, click. The call ended. And the second the line went dead, the figure moved. Fast. Too fast. They rushed toward me, and my body finally reacted. I turned and ran. I bolted down the stairs, skipping the last 3 entirely. My knee slammed into the hardwood floor, but I barely felt it. My only thought was to get to the front door. Get out. Get away. But as I reached for the lock, bang, bang, bang. The loudest knocks I'd ever heard, pounding against the front door. From the outside. I stumbled backward, my breath coming in short, panicked gasps. My mind reeled. If someone was inside, who the hell was knocking outside? I turned, expecting to see the figure at the top of the stairs. But the hallway was empty. No one was there. The knocking stopped. A deep, suffocating silence filled the house. I forced myself to my feet, my legs unsteady, my hands shaking as I grabbed my phone again. I dialed 911. It rang once. Then, my phone vibrated in my hand. Incoming call. Unknown number. The air left my lungs. I couldn't answer. I couldn't move. Then, another knock, not on the front door. On the window. Right next to me. I turned my head slowly. And through the glass, I saw a man standing in the porch light. Not just standing. Grinning. His face was too pale, his eyes too wide, and in his hand, he was holding a phone. Watching me. Waiting. And then, he lifted it to his ear. My phone buzzed again. Same number. I didn't answer. I ran. I ran without thinking. Away from the window. Away from the front door. Away from him. My body moved on pure instinct, feet slamming against the floor as I bolted toward the kitchen. My brain was still struggling to catch up, still trying to make sense of what I had just seen. The man outside. Grinning. Holding a phone. Calling me. My breath came in short, uneven gasps as I skidded into the kitchen, nearly knocking a chair over. My hands shook as I fumbled to unlock the back door. I had to get out. But just as my fingers touched the lock, knock, knock, knock. The back door. I jerked my hand away like I'd been burned. My entire body tensed and a wave of cold panic crashed over me. He was already there. Ow! Ow! I had just seen him on the front porch. He couldn't have moved that fast. My phone vibrated again. I didn't want to look. I knew who it was. But I couldn't stop myself. Unknown caller. The ringing filled the silence, an eerie, rhythmic pulse that made my skin crawl. I gritted my teeth, forcing my trembling hands to move. I hit the power button. Screen off. Silence. I stepped away from the back door, my mind racing. I couldn't go out the front. Couldn't go out the back. Windows. I spun on my heel, heading for the window above the sink. It wasn't ideal, a tight squeeze, but I'd rather have a few scrapes than be trapped in my own home with a lunatic outside. I grabbed the bottom of the window and yanked. It didn't budge. Locked. My heart pounded as I fumbled at the latch. My fingers were sweaty, slipping against the metal as I fought with it. My breathing was coming too fast, too shallow, and... knock. 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 The kitchen window. I whipped around. And there he was. Right outside the glass. Smiling. His face too close, pressed against the window pane. His wide, unblinking eyes locked onto mine. His grin stretched too wide, his teeth gleaming under the porch light. And the worst part? He was still holding the phone to his ear. The screen lit up. My name was on it. He let the phone ring, tilting his head slightly. Waiting. Watching. I backed away so fast I nearly tripped over my own feet. My chest heaved. I couldn't think. I couldn't breathe. Then, click. The call ended. And for the first time, I saw his lips move. I couldn't hear the words through the glass, but I understood them. I'm coming in. I snapped out of it. I grabbed the nearest object, a knife from the counter. My other hand flew to my phone. 911. It rang once. Then, static. The call dropped. I stared at the screen, my stomach lurching. No service. The lights in the kitchen flickered. My breath hitched. No. No, no, no. The room plunged into darkness. Then, the back door creaked open. And I knew. He was inside. The back door was open. I couldn't see him. But I knew. He was inside. The kitchen was too quiet. No footsteps. No movement. Just the soft rustling of the wind through the open door. The silence felt heavy, like the moment before a storm. My breath came in sharp, shallow gasps as I clutched the knife in one hand, my phone in the other. My fingers trembled as I tried 911 again. No service. A lump formed in my throat. That wasn't possible. I had full bars just minutes ago. The router was working fine. I had been watching TV earlier. This wasn't normal. This wasn't random. My pulse pounded in my ears as I took slow, careful steps backward, my bare feet making no sound against the kitchen floor. I strained my ears, listening, praying for something, anything that would tell me where he was. Nothing. Then, a voice. Low. Calm. Almost amused. Daniel. I choked on breath. He was right behind me. I spun around, swinging the knife. My arm sliced through the air, cutting nothing but darkness. He wasn't there. But I heard him. I felt his presence. He was in the house. Watching. Waiting. And then, my phone vibrated. The screen lit up in the dark. Unknown caller. My stomach twisted. He was calling me again. A sharp breath rattled out of me as I stared at the glowing screen. My hand shook, the knife trembling in my grip. I didn't want to answer, but I did. I lifted the phone to my ear. Silence. No breathing this time. Just stillness. Then, the voice, closer than before. Put the knife down, Daniel. I went rigid. And then, the floorboard creaked. Right behind me. I didn't think. I ran. I sprinted through the kitchen, into the hallway, heart hammering so hard I thought it might burst. The walls around me blurred, my vision tunneling as I bolted toward the stairs. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I needed to get away. Behind me, the voice spoke again. Soft. Mocking. Why are you running? I didn't look back. I took the stairs 3 at a time, my legs burning as I scrambled up. My brain was screaming at me to get out, get out, get out. And then I tripped. I barely managed to catch myself as I crashed onto the landing, my phone skidding across the floor. Pain shot at my elbow, but I didn't care. I scrambled forward, grabbing my phone with shaking fingers, trying to steady my breathing. I glanced down the staircase. The kitchen was dark. The hallway empty. But I knew he was still there. Hiding. Waiting. Then, my phone buzzed again. Unknown caller. Tears burned in my eyes. I didn't want to answer. I couldn't. But my thumb moved on its own. I pressed accept. This time, I didn't hear breathing. I didn't hear silence. I heard footsteps. Coming up the stairs. The footsteps were getting closer. Slow. Deliberate. Not hurried, not frantic, controlled. Like he was enjoying this. I scrambled backward, pushing myself up against the hallway wall. The knife in my hand felt useless. My grip on it was slick with sweat. I glanced down at my phone. Still no service. Still on the call. The voice came through the speaker again, almost gentle. Nowhere left to run, Daniel. I sucked in a shaky breath, my pulse hammering against my ribs. Think. I couldn't stay here. I needed a way out. The bedroom. I turned and sprinted inside, slamming the door shut behind me. My hands fumbled for the lock. Click. I backed away, chest heaving, eyes starting to the window. It was my only way out. My legs trembled as I crossed the room, every step feeling like I was moving through water. My hands shook violently as I fumbled with the latch. Locked. Of course. I forced my fingers to work, my breath coming in shallow gasps as I unlatched it. I yanked up. The window wouldn't budge. No. I pulled harder. Bang. 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 I screamed. The door shook violently, the force behind it rattling the hinges. Open up, Daniel. The voice was no longer calm. It was hungry. I abandoned the window, backing into the farthest corner of the room, the knife trembling in my grip. The banging stopped. The silence that followed was worse. I held my breath, my body frozen. My ears strained, waiting. Then, the doorknob turned. Click. 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 He was trying to come in. A tear slipped down my cheek. My lungs burned. I didn't want to die like this. I gripped my phone, ready to try 911 one last time. And then... knock. 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 Not from the door. From the window. I turned my head slowly. My stomach dropped. He was standing outside. On the second floor. His face pressed against the glass, his grin impossibly wide. His hands were empty. No phone. Because I was still on the call. My eyes flicked to the bedroom door. If he was outside, then who was inside? The doorknob stopped turning. For one terrible second, there was absolute silence. Then, the door burst open. The next thing I remember is the sound of sirens. Bright red and blue lights flashing through the window, voices yelling, heavy boots stomping up the stairs. The moment the police burst into my bedroom, I collapsed, the knife slipping from my fingers. They found no one else inside. The back door was still open. There was no sign of forced entry. No fingerprints. No security footage. Nothing. But the window. The one where I saw him last. There was a handprint. A smudged, pale handprint pressed against the glass from the outside. On the second floor. The police searched the area. No footprints in the yard. No sign of a ladder. No way for anyone to have been up there. And yet, someone had been. I didn't sleep that night. Or the next. My wife and kids came home a few days later. I told them nothing. What would I even say? That I was terrorized by a man with no footprints, no records, no face? That he called me, knocked on my windows, and then just vanished? That he knew my name? I got a new phone. New number. New locks. Security cameras. Motion detectors. Everything I could think of. For a while, nothing happened. No knocks. No calls. No shadows in my bedroom doorway. I told myself it was over. That I was safe. Until last night. I was lying in bed when my phone vibrated. I reached for it groggily, expecting a late-night notification. But when I looked at the screen, my blood ran cold. Unknown caller. I didn't answer. But I didn't sleep either. Because outside, in the dark, just beneath my bedroom window, I swore I heard 3 soft knocks. If you like this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell to listen to new stories from Mr. Fear every day. Thank you for watching.